UCLA names a starting quarterback, but not really. Tony Gonsolin needs Tommy John surgery like pronto. And the scribes, well, they're piling on to hype Giannis coming to the LA Lakers. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It is August 29th, 2023. Welcome to Salt Lake City, where you get woken up at 7 in the morning by air blowers going back and forth across your hotel room. Not only that, in the adjoining room, they even treat you to free spare tires that you can put on your car. So it's really quite useful to be in Utah. It's quite enchanting. And by the way, the Mormons have lightened up. You don't have to go to a speakeasy anymore to get a Diet Coke. So it's lovely, absolutely lovely. Hey, let's talk LA sports. If you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It lets you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comment. There's always good stuff to talk about when you're talking LA sports. Like last night. Not too many games, but the one that did happen mattered. Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Jason Hayward, James Outman. All of them hit a home run. Dodgers 7, Arizona 4. Your first place LA Dodgers are in leading the NL West by 13 games. Meanwhile today, Arizona is at the Dodgers at 7. Clayton Kershaw is 11-4 with a 2.52 ERA. Merrill Kelly is 10-5 with a 2.97 ERA. And an interesting game in the WNBA. Chicago's playing the Sparks at 7:30. The number 8 seed for the WNBA playoffs is up for grabs. The Sparks currently have it. They have a 1.5 game lead over number 9 Chicago. This game could decide which team goes to the playoffs. Chip Kelly did not end the starting quarterback battle at UCLA yesterday. Oh, you want to say he did, because he named Ethan Garbers the starter, which, by the way, in my opinion, is the right call. We'll get to that in just a second. But then he went on to say, golly gee, all 3 guys in the quarterback room, 3 of the 4, man, they really fought hard, and we're just going to have all 3 of them get playing time on Saturday. Because you know what doesn't look ridiculous? 6 hands under the center's crotch. That doesn't look stupid at all. That's the way they first drew up the flying wedge, for Pete's sakes, back in the day by Cracky. So yeah, 6 hands underneath the center's crotch for Saturday. Ethan Garbers basically beat out, but didn't really beat out, freshman Dante Moore, transfer Colin Schlee. But Garbers has spent the most time with the program. So you would think, simply by osmosis, that the vast majority of the playbook would already be melted into his cranium. So for that, honestly, I think it's the right call. I do. But Chip Kelly cannot stop trying to reinvent the wheel. And why do you want to reinvent the wheel? The wheel has been around with us for millennia. I like wheels. They're extremely useful. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. But that's what Chip Kelly does. He's just sitting there in his little laboratory trying to find out if there's just a way to change the angle and make it not quite a perfect circle, that the wheel will actually be better. Maybe put an edge on it or something. There are adages in life for a reason. There are adages in life for a reason. And a lot of those adages that work are the old school ones from football. And one of the adages is, if you have 2 starting quarterbacks, you really have no starting quarterbacks. There are reasons for that. Because, for example, in practice, if you have 2 starting quarterbacks, you're splitting the repetitions. The other players, they all don't get the familiarity, the muscle memory of how they're going to work under that one quarterback. And for that matter, players have agendas, like a wide receiver. That guy throws the ball better to me than this guy over here. So there's always going to be problems when you have multiple starting quarterbacks. So if 2 quarterbacks is suboptimal, how bad does it make when you have 3 starting quarterbacks? 3 guys who are going to play in the game. How do you split the plays 3 ways? Now I realize that if you want to get yourself some room to just sit and contemplate, go to a church in Southern California on Sunday morning. I realize those places aren't all that packed, but I still do believe, and I have read the Bible more than once. I do know the folly about King Solomon claiming that he was going to split a baby in half. What about splitting the baby into thirds? Kind of sounds ridiculous, don't you think? So I don't necessarily know. I believe, put it this way, I think Garbers is the right call. I don't think splitting the staffs between 3 people is the wise call. The wise call. Bruins start their season Saturday against Coastal Carolina, by the way. Tony Gonsolin will undergo Tommy John surgery on Friday, and I got to tell you, the whole story is weird. The Dodgers have this very weird habit when their players get hurt, is that they'll give you this vague idea of what got hurt, then they'll put them on the DL, and then all of a sudden it just goes from like maybe a couple of days to, I don't know, 2040. Take Tony Gonsolin. He was sidelined literally about a week ago, and they said it was forearm inflammation. A little swelling. How bad can it be? We'll just put him on the 10-day injured list. And then Dave Roberts literally comes out the same day and said, yeah, we're putting him on the 10-day injured list, but you're not going to see him for the rest of the year. Do the math. There's more than 10 days left in the regular season. So we're all sitting there going, what the hell is really wrong? And now we're finding out that we're not going to see him until after the next presidential election. All of this garbage that you hear about when you read the paper, when you watch cable TV. Hunter Biden and Joe did this. Trump did that. That's all going to be gone by the time you see Tony Gonsolin on a mound again. We could literally see a presidential debate where both candidates from the major parties debate themselves in adjoining prison cells. And that will happen before we see Tony Gonsolin on a mound again. Blows me away. Now look, I like Tony Gonsolin. He was an all-star last year. This year, apparently, he had been pitching knowing something was physically wrong for quite a while. It wasn't pain. He just knew something was wrong in his arm. And the Dodgers didn't shut him down. They just kept throwing him out there. Now they know he needs this major surgery. I don't want to be alarmist here because I know in the offseason there's trades, there's free agency. I totally get that. But without Tony Gonsolin and if the Dodgers do not sign their free agent starting pitchers, their starting rotation for next year is currently Walker Buehler, who's had 2 Tommy John surgeries and recovering from the second, Gavin Stone, Emmett Sheehan, Bobby Miller, and Ryan Pepio. Does that sound stable to you? Again, I still believe they're going to retain their free agents and or go after the big fish in the free agent market. But does that starting rotation give you a nice warm fuzzy right here? Because it doesn't to me. Last week we were talking about the Dodgers giving spot starts to minor leaguers in the stretch run to give their starters a little bit more downtime, a little bit more rest. I mentioned Gavin Stone a second ago. Stone is one of those guys. He did, in fact, come up for like a day, and then he was sent back down to AAA Oklahoma City. That's one way to get frequent flyer miles. Now, Tyson Miller, a reliever that was recently acquired from the Mets, was called up by the Dodgers to replace him. The following is not specific Dodger news, but I want to get this out of my system. Padre fans, the Puds, slum Diego. They're currently 20 games out of a playoff spot, or 20 games out behind the Dodgers in the NL West. And they had spent all this money. They had blown up their farm system to try to make a team that would get over on the Dodgers, not just once, but again and again and again. Oh boy. And then we're going to make fun of them by putting players crying on the scoreboard. Man, it's going to be such a great time to be such a shallow, pathetic piece of slime like the Slum Diego Padres, right? And it didn't happen. So there's this guy who runs a podcast down there. Not a blog. Padre fans can't read. So they tracked down the guy who wrote the mega cringe "That's What's In" rap after the Puds, by the power of Satan, eliminated LA last year. The podcaster did track the guy down because he thinks that the worst sports rhyme since the Super Bowl shuffle jinxed the team. That guy is the reason the Padres can't win, according to this podcaster. So like a posse of middle-aged welfare recipients, you know how that could inspire the paranormal. Oh, the Padres would be in first place if it wasn't for this guy. And so the podcaster wants Snoop Douchey Douche to apologize to the Padres fans. Now, I don't want to defend any Padres fan, but I have to ask this podcaster, are you sure that "That's What's In" guy did not put the crying Kershaw emoji on your scoreboard? Did the "That's What's In" guy go on the San Diego Union Tribune and say the Dodgers need to fear San Diego? Because that was Nick Canepa, Union Tribune columnist. The fear thing, fearing San Diego, that was Fernando Tatis Jr. saying that. I mean, I don't recall the "That's What's In" guy being part of a pep rally in San Diego where 4 San Diego players predicted a World Series win this year. Don't get me wrong. I'm all in favor of not having middle-aged white guys rap. I would know. I am a middle-aged white guy. But if you think that's the sole reason for the Padres' collapse this year, you, sir, you're just simply a graduate of San Diego public schools. That's all I can say. We talked the other day about LA Times columnist / ESPN thirst trap Bill Plaschke claiming Giannis Antetokounmpo wants to come to the Lakers in 2 years. Now, in addition to that, former ESPN scribe and current eater of Hot Pockets, Mark Stein, is saying likewise. Now, I don't doubt the possibility that it could happen, right? But what I don't see are sources. What I don't see is actual news work. I just see guesswork from both of them. So until further notice, this literally sounds just simply like a rumor echo chamber to me. Stein, like Plaschke, listed 0 sources. He didn't say, hey, I know people who know Antetokounmpo, and the guy says, yeah, he wants to come to LA. Nope, no sources. No, the Bucks privately fear that the Lakers are going to sign him. None of that. We only hear, Giannis is going to be a free agent in a couple of years. LeBron could leave in a couple of years. That is not something to hang your hat on. That's innuendo. That's office gossip. That's water cooler bull crap. So, sorry. That's how we all in Lakerland, how we all had to go through years of Kyrie Irving rumors. And where's Kyrie Irving? Tripping over cow pies out in North Texas, exactly. The Chargers have finally decided on a kicker, and bully for them, because if they kept more than one, well, that might have been just as silly as having 3 quarterbacks play for the Chargers, I guess. Cameron Dicker wins the gig. The Bolts have traded Dustin Hopkins to Cleveland for a 7th-round pick. Now, some dude who runs a Chargers blog called Bolt Beat called it genius. Hold on, dude. Hold on. You just got a 7th-round pick. It's not like the Chargers front office created a Palestinian state that lives in peace with the Israelis. That's not a genius move. It's something that they just got. It's not that big a deal. People need to stop dumbing down the definition of genius. Been keeping track of cuts for both the Chargers and the Rams because the final 53-man roster has to be complete today. The only semi-surprise for the Bolts is that they cut rookie quarterback Max Duggan, who led TCU to the national championship game in January. USC basketball coach Andy Enfield echoed a statement from Bronny James's family that LeBron's people, saying that the recruit, he's doing well after having a cardiac arrest in July, and that the Trojans are going to be patient. You know what? They can be patient. They really can. James is a guard, but so is top overall recruit Isaiah Collier. So are returning players Boogie Ellis and Kobe Johnson. The Trojans are deep at guard. So Bronny James can take all the time he needs. And by the way, good for him. He's also attending class. So there's that. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Tell me if you think having 3 quarterbacks get as equal playing time is a mistake for UCLA. Tell me what you think about the Dodgers rotation without Tony Gonsolin. And if you enjoyed talking LA sports with me, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. And thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.